Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and this is Stitch, Read, Repeat. You have found a YouTube video about cross stitch on the world of Flosstube. So welcome, I'm so glad you're with me. Thank you for joining me. Thank you again. If you're coming back for the second time, I was blown away by the welcome, the warm welcome that I got from this community. So thank you all so very, very much for liking, for subscribing, for commenting. I love to hear from all of you. Found some funny connections throughout things that I had mentioned in the last video, and I'm just really excited to be here. So thanks again. So today we've got a lot to cover. I really didn't think it was going to be that much, and then life, and here we are. So I want you to know that I am going to talk about StitchCon in this video, but not until the very end. So if the idea of talking about a convention of 300 stitchers is too much for you, I understand. That'll be at the very end of the video. But for now, I'm going to jump right into the stitching and talk about 3 exciting finishes that I've had. All exciting in their own sense. So the first one I had showed last time, it's called Quicker Bells. And this is by From the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. And I have a finish. So here she is. I think this is a really beautiful piece. I stitched it 2 over 2 by accident on a 40 count, but it came out really nicely. So yeah, I just am really happy with how it looks. I think it'll be really nice in a little frame for Christmas time. And this was a fun Quaker to stitch. Haven't stitched a true Quaker before, so this was a nice entry. The next one, I say it's exciting because it's so tiny. This was a start and a finish at StitchCon this year. This is by Heart and Hand. It's a very small pattern. I haven't seen patterns like this very often. It's called a Merry Making Mini, and the name was Flower Fun. And I stitched it on a 28 count linen over 2, and I should have probably done it over 4 because it truly is a mini. So let's see, maybe put this behind it so you can see how little and tiny it is. It has a B button on there. Real cute, real fun. I'm not sure what I'll do with it yet, but I enjoyed stitching it, and it was nice to pass the stash on that chart. And then my last one, let me pull up my notes on it because I've got to tell you all the details. So this is Entwined Hearts by the Scarlet House. It was stitched on a 32 count Week Styworks in Aztec Red, and I stitched it with the Belle Soie, which is what was called for. Those are really nice silks. I really enjoyed stitching with them. They were fun to use, felt really nice in hand, didn't get too many tangles, which I always appreciate. It called for 4 colors. I used all but 1, and I subbed out 1. So I used the beach grass, moss, oatmeal scone, and then I subbed noir for the black color. I was amazed that this is only 4 colors, but here she is in all her glory. So I'll start. So really just beautiful. I couldn't believe, we'll just leave it here. That's only 4 colors of floss, which, I mean, when you look at it for a while, you kind of can tell, but I was shocked when I first saw the chart. I think my favorite is actually the bottom half. I loved the hearts. That's what really sold me, but then the basket with the birds too. This was a lot of fun to stitch. I told everybody I met this weekend, or this past weekend at StitchCon, that I don't think I'll be stitching on Week's linen anymore. But I'm really happy that she's done, really proud that she's done, and excited to get her framed and on my wall. Okay, so next I'm going to jump right into my whips. I've got quite a few to touch on here. I do have some new starts kind of mixed in, so bear with me. We'll do new starts along with the whips. WIP stands for Work in Progress, if you're not sure. So jumping right in, I started a new one at StitchCon. This is by Sweet Wing Studio. It's called Far Better Things. I just think it's really, I love the quote. I enjoy C.S. Lewis, and Susan O'Brien, the designer of Sweet Wing, she's just a gem. So Susan, thank you for designing such nice things. This called for a 32 count linen by Witchell in the color Artichoke. Before I got to StitchCon, I took a little bit of a detour to Craft Gallery in Findlay, Ohio. I had heard a lot of really good things about the shop and just wanted to swing by, and it only added about an hour to my trip, so I thought, why not? Well, it added an hour of drive time, and then I was there for a little while, but you get the point. So I subbed out a fabric. I went in looking for something for this chart and found Mystic fabric in the color Pearl. And so I've actually made quite a bit of progress. I'm using all of her called for threads. She calls for a mix of classic colorworks, gentle arts, and weeks dye works. So this is where I've gotten so far. There are far better things than any. I just love the variegation of that floss along the border. I think it's really pretty, and it's stitched up rather quickly. So I'm not sure, you know, the bottom half of this chart is quite dense with that wall, so that'll take a little bit of time, but I think that this will be a fun thing to do, fun thing to work on. Oh, and last episode I had talked about my favorite scissors from Lindy Stitches, Stephanie Webb, and I found them in a chart that I was using them actually. So let me put them in front of something. These are the scissors. You can see they're real small, and I just love them. They're cute. They come in all colors. I think I have every color. I order them all the time, but you can see that the fingers are nice and large. So I don't know. They're fun. They're cute, and I like all the different colors they come in. So I would recommend those if you need a new set of scissors. Oh, and you can fly with them because they're small enough that you can fly with them. So that's a plus. Another new start that I started, and I'm going to have to insert a picture because I bought it as a PDF chart off of Etsy. I started this during Juneteenth. Well, I meant to start it on Juneteenth and ended up, my toddler needed me that night, and so I wasn't able to sit down and stitch after she sleeps like I usually do, but I started it the next day. And now, of course, I didn't look up what it was called or who the designer is, so let me put that in on the screen. You'll see it here. But this is where I've gotten to so far. And June the 19th, I'm stitching this on a 20 count Aida with one strand of floss, and this was a Fiber on the Whim Aida that I picked up when I was at market this year. It's just a cute little chart. It has a vase with a vine and then lots of birds, or two birds. Somebody shared it on Instagram and I was enabled and just had to start it. I didn't have any real Juneteenth charts, and I thought that this was something that would be nice to display in the summer, in the days leading up to and then after Juneteenth. So when I get that information, I'll be sure to put it on the video and then also in the comment box so you can see the link and find more information about that. This next whip I am super excited about. I mentioned it last time that I had a really sad start on this whip. I had started it at StitchCon in 2022, basically got just a section of the border done and part of a flower, which then I realized I had to frog out anyway. So I had 50 stitches in this chart. I love the chart. I know exactly how I want to finish it. I just never picked it back up. And so when the 30 and 30 stitching came out, that hashtag talking about stitching on or doing some kind of a craft that you do for 30 minutes a day for 30 days. And I thought I could do that. So I have. I've had a couple days where I've had to do some makeup stitching, but I've stitched on this for the equivalent of 30 minutes a day up until yesterday. So yesterday was the 22nd of June, and so here we are. This is 22 days of progress. So the chart is the Blue Flowers Tudor Bee. Again, I think this is just so beautiful, and like I said, I know exactly how I want to finish it when it's done, so I'm excited to get that wrapped up. And here she is. Oh, I'm so excited, and hopefully you guys will be excited too, because I can't believe all the progress I've made. So this is the equivalent for me of, I guess, 11 hours of stitching. Took me from this top border right up here. I had just kind of the top and down the side, and I've worked my way almost through the outline and then started on all the interior parts and pieces. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful, and I have just, this has been a joy to work on every day. So I'm really proud of this, and want to continue the 30 minutes at least through the end of June and then see where I'm at. I can see the finish line now, see all the bits and bobs that I need to work on to get there, but this feels a lot better to me, and I'm really proud that I've been able to make so much progress on this piece. And I'm stitching this on a 40 count Mellow by Picture This Plus. I'm using the NPIs that are called for, and then needlepoint silks, stitching at 1/2, so 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads. This next one, I dropped something. Who knows what I dropped? Anyway, this next one is something that I did as part of the Camping Stitchers Stitch That Kit Challenge. I was really motivated at the beginning, and then I got like squirrel and I turned and went another direction, but seeing it now, pulling it back out, makes me want to keep working because I think it's going to be really beautiful. So this comes out of Teresa Kogut's book, Let Love Reign, and I'm stitching a portion of this large sampler. So actually, it's going to be this band right here with the flowers in the vase. And like I said last time, I'm just stitching this band, and then I want to turn it into a drum. So I'm stitching it with her called for floss, which is all DMC except for a couple weeks. One of my favorite colors that she uses in this, and then that's Weeks Dye Works Oscar. It's a wonderful green. I hope she named him after Oscar the Grouch. If you watch Sesame Street, he's a character and I really enjoy him. But I'm stitching this on a linen that came from Number 12 Stitch Co. And it's a really beautiful purple color. And so this is where I've gotten. And this vine right here, that is all that Oscar green. So you can see, I mean, it's really just beautiful. The variegation is wonderful. And you can see the start of one butterfly, and then this will be another butterfly down here. But I think this will be really nice. And then I had one more new start, and this is from the designer Cosford Rise Stitchery. It's the Love to Stitch Biscornu and Scissor Fob. So this is what the pattern looks like. And I'm stitching, starting with that Biscornu. I do think I want to do the Scissor Fob too. I think it's so cute. I had the privilege of meeting her at market, and she was just a joy. And when I saw this Biscornu, I gasped. I just thought it was so pretty. It's got all these little stitchy things on it, and I think it'll be fun to do. So good or bad, I'm not sure, but I took a dive on this one and am stitching it on a 46 count fabric from Color and Cotton. And so I just started, again, you're at StitchCon, so I was wanting to make sure that I didn't do a lot of work that I was going to have to frog out again, because if you get to talking, and you know how it goes. If you sit with somebody and you stitch, sometimes you're not always paying the closest attention. So I just started working on the border of that Biscornu. So little teeny tiny baby stitches, 46 count. It's been fun to work on, but you need, your eyes at the beginning of the day, or some really good light to work on that. So that's been a joy. Those are my whips that I've been working on so far since I've been here in about a month. Somebody said to me when I was at StitchCon that, wow, you work on a lot of things in one day. And I said, that's the thing I love about stitching, is that I'm able to just kind of bounce around based on how I'm feeling or what I want to focus on. I don't have to sit and focus on one thing. And the way that my brain works, sometimes it's nice to have that creative license to just kind of turn and focus on something else for a few days. So on one hand, I'm happy to have the 30 minutes a day on the bee. And then on the other hand, it's like, but there's so many other things I could work on. And this is why I could never be a monogamous stitcher. So anyway, that's what you get with me, is all kinds of things, lots going on. Okay, purchases. I wanted to talk a little bit. I made a few purchases, wanted to show you some things. Okay, so, and then one of these is going to lead into plans. So this is some StitchCon purchases, but I thought people that didn't go might be interested in seeing. So there was a woman there who was making these bags for sale, and I just thought they were so cute. So they're these little sets of a tiny bag and a big bag. And this one, if you can see, it's like all the names of states just in lines. Words, I like words. But I thought, having lived in so many states, this was fitting, and you could always use another bag set. So I got this. And then I also picked up one of these project rolls. So these have been making the rounds in the stitching community. I've seen on Flosstube a lot. Basically, it's there's a cardboard roll, a tube in here, and then it's got some fabric. And so when you finish a project, you can press it or, you know, iron it flat, and then you stick it in here and you roll it up. So it keeps it safe, kind of out of the dust. It doesn't get creased from folding it or any of those types of things. I've wanted one for a while, and this year was the year, and I thought that this fabric choice was really beautiful. And the inside is green, which my nails are green. It's my favorite color, so I couldn't say no. I was lucky enough in a D-Stash group on Facebook, I found one of my unicorn charts. This is a chart that I have been looking for a long time. I think I initially saw it in a D-Stash group, and it went up before I could do my research and really look into it. But I found it again, and I'm really excited about that. So this is from the Sampler, and the copyright on this is 1989. So it is older than I am, which is kind of funny. It uses all DMC, and then they provided you with a dyed linen for it, but it is called the First Noel Sampler. And it's a real picture on the front, but this is what it looks like. So it's got a verse from the First Noel on the top, and then it's got the shepherds at the bottom with the angels, and there's, you know, the stars, the Christmas story, if you're familiar. Yeah, the angels, the shepherds were told about the birth of Christ. And so, like I said, in the last time, I collect nativities, and when I first saw this sampler, I thought it was so special and so different. It told the same story in a different way. I love Christmas, and so I'm really excited about this. What I'm not so excited about is that this chart is on one of those pieces of paper that it looks to be, you know, this size, but then it unfolds into a big old sheet, and it's all hand drawn. So I don't typically mark up my patterns, but I think I'm going to have to make some working copies and really follow along closely with this one, just because I want it to be right. But it's just funny seeing a hand-drawn chart, and admittedly I wouldn't want to draw the same symbol 1,000 times if I didn't have to. There's sections where, you know, say an angel's dress is all blue. She'll draw the symbol for the blue a few times, and then she'll write all underneath it. So, like, you know, okay, the whole dress is blue, the whole dress is this color. It's kind of funny. But I'm really excited about this. Yeah, I think it'll be really fun to stitch and to have on my wall when it's done. It's totally different than some of the other Christmas pieces. It's old, but it doesn't necessarily feel old, and I just think it'll be a nice addition to my Christmas decorating. And then I did buy some fabric, both at Craft Gallery and at StitchCon. I'm not going to show all of it right now, so you saw some of it in the whips, in that Cosford Rise Biscornu chart, and then also in the Sweet Wings Studio chart. Both of those pieces of fabric I did buy at Craft Gallery. And then I bought this fabric at StitchCon in the annex. It's by Dames of the Needle, and I don't typically see this fabric at shops very often, but it just feels really nice, and I'm excited to give it a try. So this color is called Unripe Tomato, and it's just a really lovely dark green, like an unripe tomato, maybe a little darker than I would think of as an unripe tomato, but again, I love green, and this leads me right into plans. So this is a 1/8 of a yard, and it's a 40 count. So, you know, it's a big chunk of fabric for a 40 count. And so my plan actually, there's an Etsy shop, and I follow her on Instagram too, a shop called A New Creation Studio. And she is hosting a Christmas in July, or Jolly July stitch along, where she is releasing a pattern every weekend in July, telling the Christmas story. And so she said you could stitch them all as individual charts, or you could make little ornaments or smalls, or you could stitch them all as one thing. And so I think I'm going to actually stitch them all as one thing. And so I thought that this green I have some like pretty cream colored floss would look really nice, as they're all monochrome, I believe. And yeah, I just think that that'll be a nice a nice way to celebrate Christmas in July and have a little mystery. So yeah, I'm excited about that, and I'll be using this unripe tomato color to do that on. I'm going to also finish up my 30 and 30, so obviously you're going to see this before the end of June, but I do plan to stitch on that bee every day 30 minutes until the end of June and see where I'm at and then make a decision from there. Working on this 30 by 30 or 30 and 30, whatever the hashtag is, has really shown me the value of a concentrated effort on a project day after day. And part of that is because I've been taking a picture every day for after the 30 minutes. And so being able to like swipe through that folder on my phone has been super satisfying. And I'll probably, I don't know, I'm not very techy, but probably make like a reel or something for Instagram so you can watch it kind of evolve as it goes. It's just been fascinating to see what you can get done in just a little bit of time every day. And so that has got me thinking about what else can I work on in a 30 by 30 manner, or just a 30-minute, daily manner. I hear some people do 1 thread a day, some people do, 2 threads a day, some people do it while they're drinking their morning coffee. The way that my life is set up right now is I'm not sure that would always be worthwhile to measure it in that way, whereas if I can measure it in a time-based manner, I think I'll be more likely to continue. Also, it allows me to where if I'm not if I do 1 thread a day, but 1 thread only has like 5 stitches, then how do you count that? So this way, regardless of what it takes, if it's frogging, if it's this, if it's that, 30 minutes on the project, and oftentimes, it turns into 40 or 45, just depending on what I'm doing. So I think that I am going to stick with that. I made some promises to some people this year that I saw them at StitchCon that I'm going to have some things finished for next year, so I do want to stick to those and own those promises. But also just, I started projects for a reason, and I think that it's fun to start new things. As you saw, I started new things, but it also feels really good to finish things and to enjoy the pieces that I started for a purpose. So that's kind of my plan with that. I have family coming into town starting next weekend, the end of June, and they'll be here. Somebody will be at my place through the middle of July. So I'm not sure how much true stitching time I'll have, so I'm hesitant to make a lot of plans. I think that, doing this Christmas in July mystery style will be fun, and then just working down on some of my whips and, seeing where that leads me is probably going to be it for this month, but that's all right. It'll be good. My sister, she lives in China, and so it'll be nice to see her, have her come home for a few weeks and visit our parents, and for my daughter to see her grandparents, and yeah, it'll be nice to spend some time with family. So okay, I wanted to talk to you. Last time I didn't have a chance because I went through all of my whips, but this time we've got a little bit more time, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about reading. Obviously my handle is Stitch Read Repeat, and so you know that I'm a reader. I have been reading all my life, as early as I can remember. Books were kind of the one thing that my mom especially never said no to. So we were at the library every weekend. We could walk to the library from my house. Again, I grew up in small town Nebraska, so it's not like it was very far, but I remember, the library was one place you could always go. There was really, Mom wouldn't often say no if you wanted to go to the library. And then, book order when you're a kid, and yeah, so reading has just become part of who I am. When I was in the Peace Corps, I read a lot on a Kindle, and that really kind of changed my mind and how I felt about e-reading. And then coming back to the States after that experience and commuting and driving, that started to change my mind in the world of audiobooks, and now really taking a lot of time to stitch has allowed me to really delve into audiobooks and get used to audiobooks and, reading with my ears. And so that's been really fun. And I read a lot. I typically read, multiple things at a time. People ask me, how can you do that? And I say, well, I read enough kind of broadly that I don't get the stories mixed up. I'm not often reading, 3 romances at a time or 3 mysteries at a time, because then characters start to cross in my mind and I'm really confused about where I'm going. But often I like to listen to nonfiction. That's just been a nice, enjoyable way, kind of like a podcast in a way. So I listen to a lot of nonfiction. I have physical books that I've purchased or have been gifted, and then I am a big fan of the library, and so then again, if I've got something on the Libby app or somewhere else, that's oftentimes what I'm doing there. So I did bring a couple books. The first one I wanted to talk about is one that I had heard a lot of really good things about, actually from the bookstore in Nashville. So in Nashville, there is a bookstore called Parnassus. It's owned by an author named Ann Patchett, and I didn't realize when I moved to Nashville how rich the book community there was, and I was really spoiled while I was there. The bookstore is incredible. Most people don't go to Nashville to visit a bookstore, but if you're in town, I would encourage it. They also have dogs oftentimes at the shop, which is an added bonus for a lot of us. So that's fun. They've got a really fun little children's area, and they host a number of really great events. I was able to see Barbara Kingsolver in person when I was there. She was in conversation with Ann Patchett at an event that was really impactful. Excuse me. I saw some romance authors that I follow. Just some really big names in the book world come through. All that to say, Ann Patchett highly recommended this book. I love Ann Patchett's work, so I thought, well, let me read this book. It's not something I would have picked up otherwise. It's called Sipsworth. It's by Simon Van Buie. Ann Patchett's quote is on the front. Quite simply, I loved it. I was looking at the picture, so you can barely see in the picture, but if you look down here in the corner, there's a little tiny mouse. This book tells the story of a woman and her mouse. She finds a mouse in her house, and they form their own quirky kind of relationship. Like I said, I would have never picked this up, but I've really enjoyed it. It's a really kind of meditative read for me. I'm reading it nice and slow. I'm reading it in hardcover, real pages, turn the page kind of thing. I've just really enjoyed this. There's not a whole lot to say about it. It sounds really weird, but if you can get past the premise and just, want something that maybe it's a feel good in a different way, something totally different, a palate cleanser, this might be a good one for you. I'm about, halfway through, so so far so good. Kind of whimsical and quirky, but it's been enjoyable. Another one, I'm going to have to put a picture up on the screen. This is called Mrs. Quinn's Rise to Fame. I literally just finished it this afternoon. Was reading it on Libby through my library. It tells the story of Mrs. Quinn, Jenny Quinn. She is in her 70s. She applies for the fictional idea of the British Bake Off, which if you are a British Bake Off fan, so am I. Can we be friends? I love that show, love it so much. I am a very, very amateur baker in my own sense, but I love to watch the show, love to see the relationships that form. And so this book talks about that journey, but also has, some added pieces, so it's not just a copycat. There's some really, it's one of those books that talks about kind of a little bit of a flashback, but then it comes back to present day. The flashback doesn't hit you over the head, but it's neat to see how she's processed her life and where things in her life have led her. And I think about that a lot with my own life is, this happened then, and that's affected me in this way now, good and bad. I think it's helpful to know where we come from. So I would highly recommend that one. Another one that I finished on the way to StitchCon was called One Last Stop. It's by Casey McQuiston. I had heard a lot about this a few years ago when it first came out, and it tells the story of a woman who meets another woman on the subway. They fall in love, but come to find out the woman on the subway is from the 70s and can't get off the train. So their whole relationship is formed on the Q train, which I haven't been to New York but once in my life, but just the way that it talked about the city, the way that it melded 1970s culture with 2020s culture was really fun. Sweet story, feel good, good ending. I really enjoyed it, and I think that if you are looking for something different, I love a good contemporary romance, and so I would highly recommend that one. And lastly is a plan, I guess. Katie, the novel stitcher, hosts her Stitches and Pages book club, and her next selection for the end of July conversation is Funny Story by Emily Henry. So, of course, this is brand new. I just picked it up at Target. It's a hefty read, but it also has a wait list at the library that's, weeks and weeks and weeks long. So I decided, okay, I better purchase it so I could read it in time. I don't typically purchase books anymore. I have so many books. I'm trying to decrease the number as I've moved. I've learned that moving books isn't always fun. And oftentimes once I read a book, I'm not apt to go back and reread it. So I've been trying to stop purchasing as many books, which is a shame because I love a good used bookstore. But I did purchase this one, and I've not even started it. So I've read her other things. I really like Emily Henry, so I think that this will be a fun read, and I'm looking forward to having a conversation with other stitchers and readers with Katie's book club. So if you have questions about that, I will link her information in the question box or the comment box so that you can reach out or watch her videos talking about the book club. I think she's doing a really great thing in our community with offering this. Okay, so 30 minutes, that's actually pretty good. So that's all I've got for regular episode stuff today. I kind of ran through it. Hopefully it wasn't too fast for you. Hopefully, you learned something, or you picked up something, or you saw something you liked. Again, I just want to say thank you to all of you for your really, really warm, genuine welcome to the Flosstube world and community. Like I said in my last video, I've been stitching for a while, but I finally kind of took the plunge with Flosstube, and I'm really excited to see where this will go. I come from a place of always being the new kid. I've moved a lot, especially in my adult life, and had to restart and resettle. And what I've been reflecting on lately is that cross stitch has been the one place that's kind of been consistent. It's the beauty of friendships that are across the miles, is that regardless of where you are, they can kind of continue, and I appreciate that. So to all of you that I met, at StitchCon, that reached out to me and said, hey, I did watch your video, great job, thank you so much. To all of you that have subscribed, I really appreciate that. And keep commenting, tell me, where you're from or what you're working on. If you have an idea for me, whether it's a stitched piece or a book, I'd love to hear it. Or if you say, hey, Caitlin, don't wear red again, that's not a good color for you, I'll take that too. I just ask that you be kind and respectful, and I will do the same for you. That's my goal here, is to just foster a place where we can all be centered around our love of stitching and learn to love each other through that. So if you choose to leave at this time, thank you. I hope that you have a great rest of your day wherever you are. And if you'd like to stick around, then I'm going to jump right into StitchCon. Oh, and before I switch, I realized last time I didn't say it, and I feel like you have to say it if you're going to make a YouTube video, but like and subscribe. I would love it. I've been really flabbergasted that I have over 500 subscribers, and I just reached over 1,000 on Instagram, so my brain is just like, whoo! But thank you all. So if you're still here, I'm going to drink some water, and then we're going to talk about StitchCon. Also, can you tell I like this color? I realized today that my nails match my cup, and again, green. I'm at this point, I'm leaning into it. StitchCon, wonderful. I really nothing else to say but that. I was at Weekend B, and I was able to sit with some ladies that I had met the year prior, and they're so good. They get in line right away so they can get the table they want. If you were at StitchCon Weekend B, I was at table 7, which was up in the front corner with my friends Courtney and Rebecca, who have large wooden rocking chairs. So they bring those in their cars and they set them up. They bought them at Wayfair if anyone's interested. but they like to get a good spot so their chairs aren't quite in the way. They try to be mindful, and so then they saved me a spot, which I was grateful for. It's always fun to sit with someone you recognize and know and kind of work on those relationships, but we were also blessed to have some new folks at our table, and so that was a joy to meet Lee particularly, and then I got to meet Carolyn, and then by extension, we had a girl who was at our table last year who had friends from the year prior, so I got to also meet another Caitlin and Carrie Lynn and Carolyn. So those were kind of Morgan's extension, and then there was some other really lovely ladies at that other table as well. And so it was just a really nice weekend of spending time with Stitchers. I think that Stitchers are some of the best people. I think that just the joy that it brings me. I told Barbara this weekend, I said, I think that StitchCon fills my cup for another year. And so I'm still kind of riding that high and enjoying all the memories that we made and the purchases that I made, and just feeling good about doing something for myself, which I think that as we age and as we start to care for others, whether that's friends, family, children, adult or parents, other loved ones, we can get wrapped up in the giving of ourselves, and we don't always fill our own cups. And so I'm grateful that this allows me to do that. So I did make a small for a StitchCon exchange, and I'm just looking at my information here. So I pulled the chart from the Gift of Stitching magazine, which I purchased the PDF versions of every issue of that magazine and have them, that I can pull from. And so I stitched a Quaker seasonal, the spring section. I stitched it on a 28 count yellow diamond linen from Fiber on a Whim. And I used the Dinky Dyes, the Christmas Pines, which is a very variegated floss for the flowers in this Quaker. And then Little Brown Bat from Forbidden Fiber Co. was the pot color. So I'll have to put a picture here. I was able to give that to my exchange partner, I guess, the person who picked my bag or my box, and so she seemed to like it. I finished it as a flat fold. I'll be sure to put a picture on the screen so you can see what that looked like, but I really enjoyed meeting her and stitching something that I was able to give away. My exchange gift was in this really fun embroidered lunch bag. So this says StitchCon, and it also has this really cute skein of floss tag on it, but it's insulated. It's a lunch bag, so I love this. No one at my office will have this, so it's a nice hey, that's my bag kind of thing. But inside she had given two smalls. I felt really blessed. So the first is this spring pillow, and this was actually one of those charts by the Shepherd's Bush, who you're supposed to stitch this on one of those little mini mesh bags, but she stitched it on an Aida. I just think it's so cute, and I was really pleased with it. And then she also made a little tiny, she said she was going to finish it as a scissor fob, but then decided to just leave it. But I just think it's so cute. It's a little bee scap, and it's funny because I'm actually allergic to bees, and I don't decorate with bees, but I picked up some bee things this year, and I just think for the spring it's such a cute way to decorate. So thank you so much to my partner who she finished these just so beautifully, and I'm excited to use them as decoration in the seasons to come. Okay, then let's see here. I was, part of the thing with StitchCon is that they have a freebie table, and so you're able to, bring something, take something, look through the boxes, have a great time, and I love to rummage. I love a cross-stitch store, LNS, a local needlework shop that has boxes and racks of stuff, especially old stuff. You saw that assembly chart was from '89. I mean, those are the gems for me. I really love that. And so I found a few goodies this year, and I wanted to share some of them with you. The first one is by Mosey and Me from 1998. It's called the Golden Christmas Santa. Isn't he just so cute with his yellow jacket? Oh, he's so cute. I love his hat, really. his hat does it for me. And so I'm excited to stitch him. I think he's so fun. He's on that silly red color again. Let's see. Oh yeah. They used a linen from R&R Reproductions called Vatican Red, and I highly doubt that that's able to be found, but I can find another red to stitch him on. I just thought he was really cute. And then I picked up this. I couldn't believe this. It's a full set, and so I'm guessing maybe it came from a retreat or something, but it's Vanity Sampler Pillows by Hello from Liz Matthews. And I've got the plastic, but you can kind of get the point. So it's stuff to stitch all these little tiny pillows, which have motifs from the larger sampler. And so then on the back, you can see it's got all this stuff. So that was a gem of a find. And then one of the women that was at the table, you know, the way that we did it was if you brought stuff, you kind of went around your table first dibs. And so I was really fortunate to find somebody had given away the whole set of Heart and Hands Joyful Journal. And so it's, you know, January, February, March, and there's all these things. My favorite, of course, is December. This Santa is so cute. I just think his little glasses, I just love him so much. And so my table mate, Courtney, actually started this series. She's going to stitch them all together in one long row. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet. I haven't decided. Part of me likes that, but then part of me thinks that it would be fun. Somebody on the brag table had, they'd stitched every month of a series, and then they finished them all kind of plainly that could fit into a larger finishing item. So then it was like they showed June fully finished, and then they showed the other months kind of partially finished, ready to swap out. And I thought that that was a really smart way to do it, and maybe wouldn't need me to have wall space for one long skinny piece. So I haven't decided yet. I have a number of calendar charts, and maybe, you know, thinking ahead to 2025, I think that that would be something I'd like to work on. Pam from Just Keep Stitching has been doing the Pine Mountain charts every month, and I've loved to see her get those done. And I think it would be really satisfying, like every month, to mark, oh, here's my next month, and oh, look, I have it stitched. And but in time, I tell myself it will be there. So, and then lastly, I just wanted to show a few of the gifts that I received. Everyone at StitchCon is so incredibly generous, and I just left feeling, like I said, my cup was full. I felt really blessed and wanted to share a few of these things. So I have become good friends with Alex and Neil from Cross Country Cross Stitch. They're cousins who live across the country from each other. Alex is Little House Stitches on Instagram, and she was so sweet. She gifted me this Rosewood Manor chart called Stay Close, and it's got the really sweet little quote on it about friendship, and then some Quaker flowery designs. It says, "Stay close to friends who feel like sunshine," and I just thought that was so sweet. I think we're gonna, she has the chart too, so we'll see, maybe we'll start it together. But I was just really blessed by their friendship and glad to get to know them even better this year. And then at our table, two of the girls that were at my table came together and they gifted me, they know that I really, they were like, "You like scissors?" I said, "Yes, I do like scissors." So they gifted me this beautiful set of scissors. It's 3 sets of scissors. This is like you can loop your thread around here, and then a thimble. I just thought this gift set was so nice and really pretty. So thank you to you girls for that. And then Candy at the table next to us made these really beautiful keychains, but they're it's a method of weaving, and I forget now, Candy, what it is, but it uses like monk's cloth, and so she loops this variegated floss kind of through the top loops of the cloth. It's technical, it's beautiful, I love it, and I was so blessed by this, so thank you. And then lastly, Morgan, who, like I said, she had sat at our table last year, and then the year prior she had other friends that she had sat with, so this year she kind of merged her 2 tables. She made these really, really cute bags, and so it's got watermelons on it with a little tiny watermelon charm. But then my favorite part, I thought this was so clever, she found watermelon seed fabric for the inside. So it's very much watermelon. I think I'm going to swap out. I've got a little kind of notions bag that I keep with me when I stitch, and I'm going to swap this out for this one. And she included some other floss in there. It was a really sweet gift. So Morgan, thank you so much. Of course, StitchCon came with it with all of the floss drops and the extras and the, you know, I did that too. I walked around every table and got to meet a lot of really wonderful people. Got to meet some Flosstubers that I have enjoyed, and just really fun to see them. I didn't take really any pictures, which good and bad, I guess. For me, it's really, I was just filling my heart, my bucket. So it was nice to meet all of you that I was able to meet. I got to catch up with some old friends and people that I've known from different places in my life, and again, just a really wonderful time, and so glad that I was able to go. Every year, Barbara, the owner of Keepsakes, the store that puts on StitchCon, she selects a charity, and so this year it was a furniture bank in Southwest Ohio, and the charity was all about donating beds. So this furniture bank gives furniture to families and individuals that have a need, but beds are a high cost item, mostly because you have to purchase the mattress new. And so I know when I was working with refugees and doing refugee resettlement, that was a high ticket item for us as well, was you could oftentimes find somebody had a table to donate or a bookcase or a desk, but the mattress, you know, you have to buy that new, and mattresses are not cheap. So the idea being that every bed, the frame and the mattress and box spring cost about $250, and between the 2 weekends they were able to raise over $70,000, which is incredible. So Barbara, thank you for what you're doing with that charity each year. I think that's really important to give back, and was happy to you know, buy raffle tickets and do all the things to donate. No, didn't win anything, but that's all right. It was really fun to be in the room and celebrate the spirit of giving back, which I think is really important. So I think that's it. I think that's all I've got. I have notes, you know, that I kind of followed. I will be back, you know, probably late July, around that time, once I kind of recover from my family being here, and you know, figure some things out, have some, you know, tangible progress that I can show you, and yeah, we'll go from there. I do have plans to meet up with a friend in July and visit Salty Yarns again in Berlin, Maryland, which is good and bad. It'll be fun, but it also is probably going to be bad for my pocketbook. So maybe I'll just, you know, walk in with some cash, and what I have I'll spend. But there's something about a needle workshop that has really good models that can really make or break a chart for you. And I find that every time I go. So it's good and it's bad. I'm always happy to support a small business, and it'll be fun to get together with her. So until next time, again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your kind words and your support. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave me a comment. Like I said, let me know what you've been working on, and I will see you next month. Take care.